Okay, today we're going to go over SocialPilot and how that works, how I use it for the system that we've set up. So first you go to socialpilot.co. There's no M at the end. You've got to be aware of that. Socialpilot.co. Click Login. The login should autofill from LastPass. If not, and you need the password, let me know and I'll send it to you. Click Login. All right. So when you first log in, you get to what's called the dashboard. It just gives you an overview of our accounts and the daily usage. What you want to do to create new posts is go to this link on the left, and I'm going to click on Manage Posts so you can see the ones that are currently set up. So what I've done is I've imported a file, a CSV, that populates it. So it schedules queued posts that'll go out about every 2 to 3 days. What we're shooting for is about 20 posts per month. That's maybe a little high. I mean, you definitely don't want to go over 20 because the problem becomes if there's too many posts, then it becomes annoying for Facebook users and they don't want to see too many. So around 15, 20 max per month. Now the difference between a post and what's called contributed posts is it's under content and feed. They're feeds. I've got one website in here. This is Be Car Care Aware. It's just a website that lets you pull articles from their site, and it's a good free resource for automotive repair content. So if you go under curated content, because I have that site already in there, you can see their, the latest posts they have on. And actually, oh, I see. It's been a minute before I really used this, so I'm not in the right area. You can actually, under curated content, you can search for search terms like auto repair, and it'll try to search for different articles related to auto repair. That's something maybe we'll get into at a later time, but for now we're going to just stick to the content from Be Car Care Aware. So if you click on content and feed content, you'll see that it's pulling the articles from carcare.org. So there hasn't been, well, I guess there has been a couple posts this month. Don't let the check engine light turn you off from making needed repairs. So let's say we decided to add that to the queue. You've got to decide what accounts you want to add it to and then click add to queue. So what I've done here is I've got all of the clients under auto repair clients, and then I've broken down the group, this all group, into 5 different groups. So basically my line of thinking there is that I would group the non-competitors. So we have shops in California and Chicago and Texas and Kansas and so on. I don't want to put 2 shops that are right next to each other. I don't want the same posts popping up just in case, a customer might subscribe to 2 different news feeds because they're in the same area. Plus, some of the shops do check out their competitors from time to time, and we don't want them seeing the same posts going out. So you would just check one of these boxes and then click Add to Queue, and then it would queue it up to go out. You can set a date, I believe, next time it goes out. We can go over this part in more detail at a later time. This isn't really something that is that important. The main thing that I want to go go over today is how to create the CSV file and set up posts to go out with pictures and so forth. So if you go back to posts and manage posts, you can do it manually, or let's see here. Sorry, I told you wrong. Posts, bulk schedule, that's where it's at. So you can download a sample file, but we don't really need that because I already have a sample file that I will send you along with the link to this video. I'll probably put a link in the description since I'm uploading this to YouTube. So let me get the sample file. Just a second, I'm going to pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got an example file here. This is the last one I uploaded. You can see over on the left here, there's 20 posts. And these are long, so they're wrapping down. If I go to View, Word Wrap, and I take that off, you can see it puts it on a single line. It's probably a little easier to see to just let it word wrap. And I'm using Sublime Text. It seems to be the best program to use because of a couple of little tricks I'll show you in this video. All right, so the basic thing is that each line is in quotes, quote at the beginning and quote at the end of the text. The reason for that is because we have, if the text has a comma in it, then because this is a comma separated value, CSV, that's going to mess it up. It's going to think that's that comma after that is another value, which it's not. So you just put, you have to make sure that the text is wrapped in quotes. And these aren't real quotes. If you look at them close, you'll notice that, and let me zoom in here, they're inch marks. There's a difference between inch marks and quotes. See how this is curly? A foot mark is straight. So on your keyboard, the apostrophe and quote key is really a foot mark and an inch mark. And most people don't know that there's a difference, but there is, especially when it comes to characters in comma separated values. So basically what I'm saying is you just have to make sure that you keep these inch marks, wrapped around the text. Okay, so these are the posts we posted last time. So basically what we have to do to get this ready for the next time is come up with another list. And for now, we'll send you the text like in a Word document. And let me pause it again and find a Word document with some posts, and then I'll use that as an example. So 1 second. Okay, so here's an example of little snippets that we could use. These are from December. So a lot of these are Christmas related, which we don't want to use. But we can take a couple of these that are specific to, a holiday or something. We want to kind of avoid that because we randomize these posts. And what we don't want happening, which has been a problem in the past, is say, an article or a little snippet about Christmas, and Christmas is already passed or something like that. So, this one's about the weather being cold. We can't use that. So here's one. So a lot of these, I guess, are about, he talks about colder weather. So I'm probably going to need to find something that's not about colder weather. But for the purpose of this tutorial, it doesn't really matter. The main thing to keep in mind is that when you're using these little snippets, double check them to make sure that they're appropriate for the time of year and that they're not holiday related. So when we send over the text, that's one thing that we'll make sure is there, but you still might want to read them just to double check. So let's take this one as an example. Now, you might notice too that at one point we were putting phone numbers in here. And ideally, that's good. It just takes more time because what you have to do is that you have to do individual files for each client, changing out the phone number and the address. And I guess that's probably something we'll want to do. I know it's extra time, but since this is part of your full-time job, hopefully you'll have the time to do this sort of thing. So we'll have to, so let's copy this one as an example. And normally what I do is I take the last one and the first thing I do, so I don't forget, is I go to File, Save As, which is a way of making a copy. And then I'll just put in client name here. So whatever you want to call it. And then save it to your desktop, or what I do is I have a folder and I save it all in there. But for the purposes of this, I'll just save it to my desktop. But it's a good idea to get good at file management. Make a projects folder, make a folder for Facebook posts or SocialPilot, whatever you want to call it, just so that you know. And then, keep all of your files in there so they're easy to find. So I'm going to save that. And then what I'm going to do here is, because we're getting all new posts, I'm just going to delete everything except the first line. So what I would do is I would copy and paste between the two inch marks. And the other thing to kind of keep in mind too, and this is part of the writing side of it, but it's still something to keep in mind, is a lot of these get reposted to Twitter, and Twitter has a character limit. So if they're too long, they just get cut off. So that's something to keep in mind. And when you go into SocialPilot, it will warn you when you're uploading this if the post is too long. It's not super critical, but it's something to keep in mind, and something we're kind of shoot for is keeping the posts a little bit shorter and on point. So this is the post. This line is showing where the photo or graphic is, and if you just copy this, you can see I've uploaded a photo to our website, ReadyPowerMarket/images, and I made a folder called CSV to upload these to. So again, to upload files, you've got to use WinSCP, and you'll go to ReadyPowerMarket, and then you'll go to public underscore. Oh, you gotta be aware of this address right here. So I use Ready Power Market to set up test websites under domains. You have to make sure you're not under domain. So you can click anywhere in this bar to go to that folder. So I want to go back to here, and then I want to go to public underscore HTML, and then images, and then CSV. And here's all the images I did for the last posts. So, excuse me. Well, the hardest part, well, one of the harder parts of doing this is actually finding relative or relevant images or photos that are appropriate for the post. So what you got to do is go back and kind of read the post. You know, this is talking about tire inflation, check your tires, yada yada yada. So what I do is I go to the stock photography site like iStock Photo or Shutterstock, and then we have all of our photos that we've purchased and graphics, and I'm going to upload those to Google. I think I have some of them already on Google or in Photos. Let's see. I'll create an album with all the automotive stuff, and then I'll share that with you. But for now, let's just use iStock Photo. So we're talking about tire inflation. So let's just look up tires. And again, you have to check creative because we don't want to use an editorial image because of copyright and all of that. Okay, so check your tires and your spare to make sure they are at pressure for the conditions of the road. So maybe inflation. Okay, so maybe this is a good graphic, right? Because it's showing kind of what we're talking about. Or this one. You know, use your best judgment. Whichever one you think looks the best. Yeah, not that one. So if this is a stock photo that you can't find that we've already purchased and it's just easier to pull it from here, you can use the snipping tool. And what you do is you do new, and then, okay, save as. I'm going to call this just something short. And what I usually do is I do like kind of a reverse lookup. So I go to my desktop, pull that into Google image search, and sometimes it won't find it, but it'll say visually similar images, which is good too because you know, sometimes it'll find an image that's really close, and that looks to be really close. You can just save that as, you know, there. That's good. So, excuse me. You don't want to keep the file names too long, so just tires air or something like that. Something pretty short. That way they're not too long in the file name. So I'll just drag that over to the images CSV file and I usually do this just to grab the link, copy and paste. Right here. Okay, and then this is the date that we want it to go up. So the date and time. So what I do is, let's say we start in June. So say June 1st. And you have to use the 2 digits, so 0501. And then for this, I believe it uses military time. I could be wrong about that. Let me open. Let me see what I did last time. Okay, so it doesn't use military time, just normal standard time. So you could do like 2:25 p.m. Okay, so that's obvious. It doesn't use military time because you specify p.m. or a.m. And I get a drink, that'll help. All right, so as you can see, it's simple, but it's time intensive. So for this specific one, we would make sure that the phone number and the address matches the client. And then we would just do another row. So what I do sometimes is I do kind of a blank template, right? So I would do like that, and then URL, and then date, time. So I guess for this one, we could just copy and paste, so it's a little easier. And for the URL, what I do, I make it all caps so I can see it easier. So now I know I just need to put the post here, the file name, and then change the date and the time. And what I do here, I'll copy that one, and then I'll paste it. Make this easier, I'll copy it again. Paste, paste, paste. So about 20 to 30 posts at a time. We can do more, but we don't want to go crazy. We don't want this going into winter or something like that. So again, since I've got this set up, I go ahead and save it. I go back to my snippets. Let me just grab another one. So copy, paste. And in Sublime Text, when you have something like this, when you double click on it, it selects it. You'll notice that it puts a box around the same word. That's kind of a good thing to see visually, that you're selecting this, but there's other instances. You can just ignore that it's putting a box around it. So paste. What I would probably recommend doing is do each post first, then find an image for each one, and then change the date and time for each one. That's my workflow. You can do it however you like. It just seems like it's simpler if I focus on one thing at a time. So once you get all of this done, what you do is you go back to SocialPilot, you select the file from your computer, you click upload, and it gives you a preview. what I'll do is I'll go ahead and delete that so I can show you here. So select file, upload. It gives you a preview and it shows you a broken image if you can't find it, which of course it can't find the second one because I just put file name. That doesn't exist. So it shows you right here too, the thing I was talking about, Twitter. So this has 77 characters too many for Twitter. You know, if it if it falls within the, I believe it's 160 characters, it'll give you a blue positive number. So it gives you a chance to edit it right here. You can edit it, and then you can check the date and time right here. So it spells it out for you, which is good. So just check the image, check that this is good. Let's talk to Tiffany about the Twitter thing. I don't think that we have this set up to post to Twitter. There is a way to link up accounts with Facebook so that they get auto-posted to Twitter, and I think Abby set that up, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So let's have a discussion about Twitter and sort that out. But then when you're done, then you go to next, and then you would select the groups. So like I said, I have these set up into groups of 5. So you would select the first group, and then, or since you're doing specific phone numbers and addresses, you're actually going to want to select the one you did it for. So you would select the one you did it for, and then you would click add to queue, and it would add it to queue, and then you're done. Now the thing that's going to be tricky too about this a little bit, let me open, oh, I've got it open already. I said a little bit ago, we like to randomize these things so that they're not the same for everyone. Now there's an easy way to do this in Sublime Text, but you have to keep in mind that you want to do this before you set the dates, right? Because if these order sequentially from top to bottom, it doesn't, if you randomize all of these lines, it's still going to read these dates and set it up to queue them to those dates. So set the dates last, and here's how you randomize all of these. So you would do Control A to select all, and then you would go to now I have to remember where it's at. I think it's sort lines, edit sort lines. Yeah. So you'll notice that it just randomized them. And if I do this again, edit sort lines. Oop, I said it wrong. It's edit permute lines, and then shuffle. Okay, so shuffle just randomly shuffles them, randomly orders them in just a random fashion. So you don't even have to select all. You can do selections if you're selecting things, but permeate lines shuffle, and that will randomize them. Then what you do is you go in and you change the date on each line. So you would start at the top and you would do like, you know, whatever date you want it to start, and then you would do, what I recommend is every couple days, 2 to 3 days, and it's really, it doesn't have to be 100% consistent. Say we're shooting for 15 posts a month, then, you know, about every couple days will work. And we might have a short discussion about that too. this is just kind of what we've done in the past. Maybe Tiffany has a different idea for it, so let's have a brief discussion on that too. But that's the basics of it. So if you have any questions, let me know, and that'll wrap it up.